If they want to do it, and if they think it's in their self-interest, they have the right to do it. They do not have the right to use American taxpayers' money. And, of course, they survive, and their military depends on our money. But I have no qualms about Israel doing whatever they want. I do have qualms with us being dictated to or us financing what they need or want. I don't think they're on the verge of doing it. I think they're still in the propaganda phase.
Why are they why is their defense minister treating us like we're a whore and Israel's our pimp?
Well, just to put more pressure on us, and they know it's worked in the past. They put pressure on our politicians, and our politicians are so intimidated. The one disturbing thing this week that I noticed in our hearings was that the coalition, of some of the conservatives like myself and constitutionalists, along with some on the left who oppose the war, that coalition is very weak. It seems like the left is much more ready to do something about Iran than they were about Iraq. So I see our opposition even weaker, and we weren't able to stop the last one. So when the time comes, I think the noise that you hear now and all the talk is all to get the American people ready, because they are down on the Iraqi war. So they have to have, a reason to go in, and that's what they're preparing.
Dr. Paul, shifting gears, and we're so honored to have you with us. Shifting gears into another subject quickly before you have to leave us. DU detectors all over the Western world are picking up 8 times the safe level. It's the same isotope. We know it's the thousands of tons that have been used everywhere. Lung cancer rates are exploding, even though smoking's down. What do you think about the DU situation?
Well, I don't know enough about it to comment on it, but I do know that we contribute to it, especially with the depleted. You're talking about the depleted uranium, and that which was put in our
yes,
in the shells. We know that the Persian Gulf War syndrome probably was somewhat related to that, and other things that we did.
Well, a tripling of birth defects from the first war.
Yeah, so we have not yet seen, the real cost of this war when we start seeing our troops come home. They talk about 20,000 casualties. That's serious injured and death. But there are probably tens of thousands of others who are coming back who believe they have psychological problems, and they've been taught that it's just a weakness and they can't even talk about it. So we have no idea what we're going to face with our veterans coming home. And not only about the uranium, I think we also have a lot more head injuries and psychological problems for other reasons that is really going to hit us. It's a real tragedy.
Congressman, I just want to hold you through this break so you can plug your website and your organization, the Liberty Committee, when we get back. So just stay with us a few minutes. Alex Jones here, back live. George Humphrey riding shotgun with me. Congressman Ron Paul, a few minutes left with him today. We're honored to have him last weekend, now again this week. Very busy man. I was talking to George during the break, Congressman, and he was talking about how he just got back from Thailand. And, of course, he's been to India business and many other issues. He's a successful businessman here locally. And how just everything's moving there. I mean, it looks like a spaceship, he said, in India. It's so high-tech what's been moved there. And so we have the EU expansion failing. We have the American Union failing last year. Huge victories for freedom against the NWO. But at the same time, our entire infrastructure is gone. The globalists said they'd do that to get control of us. So talking about the good of this whole New World Order stalling, but at the same time, it's kind of like they were able to slit America's throat, but now they're going to drown in her blood. Can you comment on that?
Well, even if we had some victories and continue to have some victories, to rebuild our structure is a big, big job. I mean, to bring the jobs back and be competitive again, you need a new currency, you need a new tax structure, you need a new approach to environmentalism, and you need a new approach to all regulatory law that we have. We need different courts and justices, and, it's so overwhelming that I don't think all of a sudden we should expect manufacturing jobs to come back because we aren't competitive. And I think the currency has a lot to do with that. When you're printing a currency, it's much easier to spend it overseas than to build factories, as long as these people are taking our money. So I think our agitation, that's about all I think I can do, is agitate and talk about what we should do so we don't have a whole lot of victories. I think that's important so that if we do get a better chance to implement policy, there'll be more people with us. And I think the hard money movement and the number of people who are understanding the importance of gold and silver and why it's so dangerous to have paper money, I think our numbers are growing, and I think that's very beneficial to all of us.
The dollar overall is devalued 45% since 1998 because the euro was about 88 cents. Now it's at, 130 or so. So you do the math. And you look at where all these trends are going, more and more countries are starting to slowly dump the dollar. It's like they're trying to ease out of it, but it's like a Mexican standoff. When does it...
Well, it'll probably get out of hand. It's in their interest to make it orderly because the foreigners are holding so many dollars, and I think the top insiders probably bet on both sides. You know, if the markets demand that the dollar be rejected, I don't even think that the insiders can prevent that, and that's why they try to get on to another currency, and that is that they go to the euro or something else.
So you think we need to, because I've heard you say this before, you think we need to educate everybody about who was behind the crash, who caused this, what policies did this, so as things get worse, people will at least know real solutions?
That's it. I think bad policy gets us into trouble, whether it's bad foreign policy or bad economic policy. But basically, what the trouble is with Washington is they reject the notion of the rule of law, because I think the founders gave us a system that endorsed the concept of free markets and sound money. So if we really want to step back in the right direction, is we just demand that our Congress obey the Constitution, and that's where our biggest problem is that most of them don't care and most of them don't really understand.
But instead, the federal government's racing in the other direction. The people now don't want big government. They're waking up in all the polls, but it's the establishment knows that, so they're racing to put a police state in place. Is that police state to try to fend off the counter-revolution?
It is. It's in there. It's in place, and it was rather tragic that we saw the Patriot Act got passed, and worse than ever, and yet you and I know that there's a lot of people around this country who have spoken out and have been very negative about that. So that shows they're still in control in spite of the people trying to speak out and slow this bureaucratic monstrosity that we have in Washington.
Final quick question. We're going to let you go right now, Congressman. Last week we talked about impeachment, Democrats winning control of the Congress. You believe that they'll then try to impeach Bush. How do you see that coming down?
I suspect they will. They've introduced the resolution already, and it would be both because they're angry just for general political reasons, but they really, really would like to get payback for what Republicans did with Clinton. So if they get a majority in the House, I believe they'll take it up in a very serious manner.
But overall, do you think it will be positive to see the executive branch punished just for precedent? I mean, right now the executive claiming imperial power. Would it be positive to see the executive punished?
I think anything that diminishes the power of the executive branch or the central government is beneficial to the people and to the cause of liberty.
Congressman, you're a trooper. You're a champion of liberty. You are just an amazing American, and we're glad to have you up there as a standard of the paleo-conservatism. And God bless you. Thanks for spending time with us. Have a great weekend.
Good. Thank you.